incredible, isn't it? It's a beautiful and inspiring piece of work. Please welcome the main man responsible, Professor Brian Cox.
You know what's so weird is no one would be talking about D-Ream at all anymore unless you'd been the keyboardist in that.
I might have known, you know. I thought, what are they going to play? And I thought it's going to be...
Of course
things going to get better.
Of course it has to be that. But it is, you know what, I suppose people find that surprising because they don't think people who hold positions like you do currently, and they don't think people who have the kind of, you know, the mental faculties you do, to have ever had a previous life. Normally it's, you know, it's a very, you know, focused, boffinish, nerdy life, and then not someone who's been on stage dancing around on top of the pops.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, because I took about 5 years off before I went to university, so 18, and got my A-levels. I can be sensible now and say kids, because it's really true. If you get your A-levels, you can pretty much do what you want for a while. So I joined a rock band for 5 years. And
is there a kind of presumption that scientists should look a certain way, professors should look a certain way, and the fact that you don't, people find that curious at best, off-putting at worst?
You get, you know, on Twitter or on the web when you get feedback from the shows, and people do tend to put young man after their comments, some people. So I'll tell you, I didn't agree with the colour of Saturn on that graphic, young man. You know, it's like I'm 42. You know, but I do get a bit of that.
Well, you're very youthful looking 42,
yes.
And that's because, we'll find out more about this later on, you've travelled through time, I believe.
Yeah, we all do.
Yes, we do travel through time, and is it possible one day, and I know you've dealt with this in the theoretical realm, that we will actually physically be able to travel through time in a direction of our choosing?
Do you know, you can travel into the future at any speed you want relative to other people. So it just depends on how fast you're travelling.
Well, say, but would I be able to see, but if the future hasn't happened yet, or has it happened?
That's a really good question, because...
Hold on, that's a first. Let's enjoy that. It's taken us 11 years, but we've got there. I'm off, my work's done. So that's a good question.
In Einstein's theory of space and time, the best theory that we have, then the space and time are like a blob. So really, there's no sense in which the future unfolds. It's there, and we're travelling into it at the moment. Now, that might not be right, but it's the best theory we have of space and time at the moment.
What is the universe made of, to the extent of our knowledge? Because there's a very large proportion of it that we can't identify. Is this correct?
We now think that something like 96% of it is made of something else other than this. And every star... And remember, there are 100 billion galaxies we can see in the universe, each with, in the observable universe, each with 100 billion stars in it, like our sun.
Headache.
That appears to be about, what, 4% of the stuff in the universe, which we've discovered in the last 10 years.
But the rest is
it's a bit embarrassing for fundamental physics.
So you don't,
96%
you don't know
of the
what
universe is something else.
Is this because it's not matter in the way we understand it?
It's not this stuff. It's not stuff that shines in stars or galaxies. It's something else. So we call it dark matter, and there's some other stuff around called dark energy, and that's what we know about it. Basically, it's got a name, and that's about it.
And if you go down to the quantum level, of course, this is the same as this is the same as that, isn't it? Is that right?
That's right.
Oh, that's horrible.
This is very good.
But it's really hard to understand.
It is, but I think that it's... most people I meet are interested, genuinely interested. And I think, actually, that image of science being difficult is a problem that we need to get over, particularly for kids. It's not that difficult. I mean, I'm no cleverer than you. I can't believe I said that. I'm not. I'm no cleverer than you.
You can't laugh while you're saying it. There's so many questions I'm sure people put you on a regular basis, but these are the kind of layman's questions about the universe and about space and time. I'm sure I would have thought the question about what happened before the Big Bang must be in the top 10 right there. The other one must be, is there life on other planets? Will we encounter it, say, in our brief time on Earth?
Yeah, and I would say, I mean, the last episode of Wonders is about this, life in the solar system. And over the last, let's say, decade or so, we found water everywhere, liquid water.
And we never thought there was before. We never thought there was water. I think they suspected there might have been on the moon, but they thought there was none on Mars, did they?
It's frozen. But we found, for example, there's a moon of Jupiter called Europa. which is about as big as our moon. And it's got a frozen ice surface because it's very cold out there, 500 million miles away from the sun. But it's got a liquid ocean underneath it, which is probably about 100 kilometres deep.
So
which
fish
means,
and stuff we might find?
It means there's more water on that moon than in all the oceans of the Earth put together.
That, once again, big headache time for me. But will there be fish in there and
well, there could be microbes.
Crocodiles?
Many people think there'll be at least microbes around. And the big question is, are they different or the same from the ones on Earth? Has life evolved?
All right, that's fine. But listen, never mind that.
Yep.
What we want to know, though...
Life!
Microbes don't count. We want things with arms, eyes, guns, you know, hats. That's what we're interested in.
Microbes would be a start.
No,
they would.
Microbes!
But it would mean that our planet is not the only place in the universe where life has evolved, which would be a massive discovery and potentially within our lifetime.
But isn't that a given?
Well, no, because we've only found one, and you can't make assumptions about nature.
Well, we haven't found one. We are one, is what you mean.
Well, yeah, so there's this planet which has life on it.
Okay.
And until you see it somewhere else, any form of life, then you just don't know.
Yeah, but you know it's there, really. I mean, I know it's there.
We could save a lot of money. But we don't need to bother.
I don't need you to find a microbe. I'm telling you now. There's some microbes out there on one of those planets. Probably that big one with the water you were talking about earlier.
Do you know they can move around in space, though? We sent some space probes to the moon before the Apollo astronauts went there. And they brought a camera back of one of them. And someone had sneezed in it when they were assembling it. So it had flown to the moon, sat on the moon, been brought back by the Apollo astronauts. And the cold virus, the viruses, the bacteria was still there. And they were still alive. So they came back to life.
So
they survived.
That's
on
terrifying,
the moon.
though. That is like a science fiction movie.
It's like the Andromeda strain.
Yeah, so the microbes could travel through space. So is there a cold virus coming from that big moon planet now?
There's a theory that life on Earth was seeded by microbes from comets and things hitting the Earth back in its past. So it didn't start here. There's a theory that it could have started somewhere else.
The Big Bang
on Mars
could have been
else.
someone sneezing.
No.
You can't say
You
that.
can't extrapolate
There's
from
no
what I
point
just said to that.
I can, and I will.
You will.
And if you sit around for much longer, you're going to hear more of this sort of bullshit. So you might as well just relax, loosen the belt, kick off those shoes, get ready to join in. God sneezed. Are you agnostic? Are you an atheist? Do you have any? Do you want to have a faith in the unknown, or is science your God?
Yes, it is in the sense that I'm comfortable with the unknown. That's the point of science. There are places out there, obviously billions of places that we know nothing about, and the fact that we know nothing about them excites me, and I want to go and find out about them. And that's what science is. So I think if you're not comfortable with the unknown, it's very difficult to be a scientist. So I don't need an answer. I don't need answers to everything. I want to have answers to find.
Well, that brings us to the giant Hadron Collider,
the large Hadron
or as I believe
Collider.
it's known in science terms, the death machine.
Don't eat that bollocks, and I knew you'd start talking bollocks.
That's what I heard for some scientists I met in a bar.
Do you know in the Telegraph the other day, they actually had a title in it, and it finally said the spelling mistake everyone's been waiting for, Large Hadron Collider. and you know what? Stephen Fry, of all people, sent me an email going, yes! It was so juvenile. And it was the Telegraph. The Telegraph of all
Most
things.
people have a rough idea. We have a rough idea of what it is, where it is, what it's doing. But if you can clarify for us, this is a huge, I believe it's a huge underground tunnel in a big section. It's near Geneva, is that right? It's
Yes,
out there.
that's 21 kilometres in circumference.
Wow.
And it's below the surface of Geneva.
How far below the surface of Geneva is it?
About 100 metres.
So it's a long way down. This is the inside of one of the tunnels, I believe, which I think I saw something similar in Doctor Who with some Cybermen running down a while ago. So they all look pretty samey, don't they? And in there, and can you still go down there, or is it now radioactive?
It's working now. So there's radiation in there now.
And so this is are these protons or neutrons going around?
Protons, the nuclei of hydrogen, and we accelerate them around there to 99.999999% the speed of light.
So can you go to the speed of light?
No, just below. If you've got no mass, you can go at the speed of light. But
So because they have a tiny amount of mass, they can't actually get to the speed of light?
99.99999, that's 11,000 times a second they go around that ring.
Wow.
And then we can collide them together, and we collide about full power, 600 million every second.
When you say come together, this is where there's more than one going round in each direction.
Yeah, millions, billions.
So you're banging loads together.
Yeah, there are beams of them, which are actually, when they collide, they're about the diameter of a human hair, and they have the energy of an aircraft carrier going at 30 miles an hour. Wow. And you cross them, and in those collisions, you recreate the conditions that are present were present less than a billionth of a second after the universe began.
Just after the sneeze. Now, when they...
No, but anyway.
You can't say no, you
Just
say
after the
probably not.
sneeze.
Now,